I have a lot that I want to discuss with you today. Fox News and other news affiliates caving in from fear. I want to explain to you why the gunmen came out and were killed, but what their religious motivation would have been when the French police and authorities killed them. And I want to explain to you the evangelistic purpose of the Muslim terrorists, or the devout Muslims, I should say. By the way, this is probably the most important book that you could get if you want a single volume to understand Islam. It's called The Life of Muhammad. It's printed by Oxford. I do not sell them, all right, so I'm not trying to make money off of this. It's the translation of Muhammad's life by Ibn Ishaq. Ibn Ishaq. So if you want to invest the money to get this, it is, in my opinion, it is the single most important book, I beg your pardon, that you can read on Muhammad and to understand the Islamic religion. So Ishaq is spelled I-S-H-A-Q, okay? Ibn is I-B-N and Ishaq is I-S-H-A-Q. So I'm going to read to you a couple of short passages from this book in a minute, but first let's talk about Fox News. Many of us are very thankful for Fox News, myself included, because it gave conservatives and Christians a voice in the secular media, certainly an antidote on many occasions for CNN's blather and MSNBC's blather, not to mention the three major networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC. But tragically, they've caved in on this one. They have made the editorial decision, Fox News, that they will not show the cartoons, these cartoons, all right? They have bowed the knee in fear. And I know that it's got a lot of their journalists upset because they're talking about the need for journalists around the world to stand in solidarity with the journalists in France who were murdered. But Fox won't show them. And Fox said in a news segment, one of their anchors said that NBC won't show them, Fox won't show them. And thankfully, I'm happy to report to you that the Washington Post had the courage and the integrity to publish one of the cartoons. Now let me make a really simple observation. Oh, and by the way, they did an online poll about whether or not Fox should run the images of these cartoons. 94% of the Fox viewers who went to the website and answered the question, 94% said, yes, run the pictures. And then there was scathing comments against Fox for caving in to Islam. I mean, scathing. People are enraged, and justly so. Let me quote a verse from the book of Jeremiah. If you have run with footmen and grown weary, how will you run against horses? If you've run with footmen and grown weary, how are you going to run against horses? If you can't do the simple thing, how are you going to do the hard thing? If a news outlet does not have the courage and the integrity to run these cartoons, to just show the news, literally, that's what it is, how could they possibly have the courage and the integrity to accurately cover and assess Islam? They're just not going to do it. On the contrary, most of the major news outlets, starting with the New York Times, have become apologists for moderate Islam, this fanciful, non-existent religion, okay? Islam is Islam. It admits no change. I was listening to a good talk show host the other day who said, what Islam needs is a reformation. And I thought, you clearly have never studied Islamic history and never read the assessment of jurists who are scholars in Sharia law, who have made it absolutely clear for hundreds of years that Islam admits no change. And Muhammad said, and the Quran says, today I have perfected your religion. So to try and change Islam is an offense, and people have lost their lives. University professors who were Muslims, who said, maybe we can do without this or do without that, tried to change some of the aspects of Islam, where fatwas were put out against them, judgments were issued by various religious leaders of the Muslim world, and they were all murdered, they were killed. Because what they had done was a crime against Muhammad. To suggest that Muhammad's words not be followed and the Quran not be followed was a capital offense. It was a denial of Islam. So if the media is not going to show the truth about Islam, in these cartoons rather, how in the world are they ever going to accurately cover the history of Islam, Muhammad's life? I'm going to take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the French president and his absurd and insane words, and I'll read to you a couple passages. Don't go away.
You have two choices. I mean, you can try to raise your children by design, or you will raise them by default. There are no perfect parents. We're going to get it wrong sometimes. If we have a plan, we've got a better chance of getting it right in the long run.
There is something deep within the heart of every human being that longs for parental acceptance and approval. When does a boy become a man?
Get a group of guys around and ask them that question.
I don't think there's a certain age. Some men stay boys their whole life.
I would say, 16, 18 years old.
Wow, that's a good question.
When they get bar mitzvah?
Well, I think when he has a child. So I just became at 56, 56 years old.
Without the power of the Holy Spirit changing us and giving us power over our sin, we can't hope to be the dads that our kids need us to be.
We have put together what we call an online university for you. Now that's a highfalutin way of saying that we have a pretty significant library of material, books, tapes, videos that are there for you for free. Why are we doing this? Because America is desperate for new leaders, and because this material could help you to become the leader that you and God want you to be. Check it out and enjoy it.